J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class, and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor, president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcers for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Ms. Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Occasions and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. The family of Miss Erica Nicole Hopper, the family of Miss Erica Nicole Hopper of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mr. Henry Clement Tenon of Diana, Georgia, the family of little Miss Hope Janaya Marie Kellum, age 4, of Rochelle, Georgia, the family of Mr. Manuel Smith of Cordele, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Miss Erica Nicole Hopper of 1008 South 14th Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, July 15th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Erica Nicole Hopper was held Wednesday, July 22nd, graveside at the Hardshell Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved godfather, the Reverend Eddie Oliver, officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted mother, Mrs. Deborah Royal Hopper of Cordele, Georgia, her precious and adored children, Master Ontarius Armstrong Jr., Miss Ariana Green, and Master Casey Lewis Jr., all of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving and devoted sister, Miss Aaliyah Hopper of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Rontavious Dean of Warner Robins, Georgia, Mr. Demetrius Hopper of DeSoto, Georgia, and Mr. Nicholas Hopper of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving grandparents, Mr. Jim and Mrs. Louise Royal of Cordele, Georgia. Her godfather, the Reverend Eddie Oliver, and his wife, Mrs. Joanne Oliver of Columbus, Georgia. Her beloved aunts and uncles, Mrs. Tawana Wilson and her husband, Mr. Demetrius Wilson, Mrs. Mary Steele and her husband, Mr. Clarence Steele, and Mr. Warren Hopper and his wife, Mrs. Ann Hopper, all of Warner Robins, Georgia. Mrs. Wanda Johnson and her husband, Mr. Julius Johnson of McDonald, Georgia. Ms. Velma Bivens, Ms. Martha Huffins, Mr. Alfred Hopper and his wife, Mrs. Marilyn Hopper, Ms. Gloria Hopper, Mr. Edward Hopper, and Ms. Thelma Hopper, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Kenneth Royal and his wife, Mrs. Catherine Royal of Atlanta, Georgia. Her beloved great-aunts and great-uncles, Mrs. Helen Sanders and her husband, Mr. E.W. Sanders, Miss Etta Peacock, Mr. Janet Royal, and Mr. Buford Royal Sr. and his wife, Mrs. Cora Royal, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Bertha Castro of Jacksonville, Florida, Mrs. Beulah Williams and her husband, Mr. Homer Williams, Mr. Bobby Royal and his wife, Mrs. Florence Royal, and Mr. Rufus Royal, all of Miami, Florida, Mr. Robert Williams of Atlanta, Georgia, her beloved nieces and nephews, a host of cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends, to include her devoted friends, Miss Jackie Balaam, Miss Ashley Hardiman, and Mrs. Tara Hentley survived. Miss Erica Nicole Hopper of 1008 South 14th Street, Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Henry Clemens Tenon of 308 Whitehall Street, Vienna, Georgia, died Sunday, July 19th at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Henry Clemens Tenon was held Friday, July 24th at the Big Poplar Springs Church Cemetery in Unadilla, Georgia. The Reverend Charles Cobb Sr., pastor of the Free Providence Baptist Church, officiated. Survivors include his beloved and devoted children, Mr. Henry Matt Harris and his wife, Mrs. Mary Harris of Vienna, Georgia, Mr. Jerry Adams and his wife, Mrs. Flora Adams of Hawkinsville, Georgia, Mr. Henry Tenon of Jacksonville, Florida, Mr. Dwight Tenon and his wife, Mrs. Tara Tenon of Cordele, Georgia, Pastor Sarah Ann Tenon of Vienna, Georgia, Mr. Johnny Tenon of Lufkin, Texas, a beloved nephew whom he adopted as his own, Mr. Willie David Tenon and his wife, Mrs. Tabitha Tenon of Unadilla, Georgia, his beloved grandchildren, Jamie, Jamil, Khalil, Tiffany, Monique, Haley, James, Angeline, Brannon, Samantha, Jerry Jr., Sharika, and Jaden. 15 beloved great-grandchildren, his beloved goddaughters, Mrs. LaQuisha Snubs of Pensacola, Florida, a host of nieces and nephews, many cousins, to include his special cousin, Mrs. Lois Royal and her husband, Sir Johnny Royal, Mrs. Bernice Frazier, all of Vienna, Georgia, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends, to include his close friend, Deacon Raymond Anderson of Vienna, Georgia, Miss Cheryl Davis of Hawkinsville, Georgia, Mr. Eddie Weldon of Americus, Georgia, his special neighbors, Miss Angela Smith and Mrs. Rayvon Dawson, both of Vienna, Georgia, survived. Mr. Henry Clemens Tenon of 309 Whitehall Street, Vienna, Georgia. Little Miss Hope Janiyah Marie Kellum, age 4, of 115 Alley Avenue, Rochelle, Georgia, died July 14 at her residence in Rochelle, Georgia. The funeral service for little Hope Janiyah Marie Kellum, age 4, was held Saturday, July 25th, graveside at the Pine City Church Cemetery in Rochelle, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend Ernest Weaver, officiated. Survivors include her loving and devoted parents, Miss Courtney McAdoo and Mr. Johnny Kellum Jr. of Rochelle, Georgia. Her loving sisters, Miss Faith McAdoo Ramsey of Pitts, Georgia, and Miss Journey Kellum of Tifton, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Master Chase Thompson and Master Malachi McAdoo, both of Pitts, Georgia, and Master Jamal Kellum of Tifton, Georgia. Her caring and beloved grandparents, Mr. Hollis and Mrs. Connie McAdoo of Pitts, Georgia. Mr. Johnny Kellum Sr. of Rochelle, Georgia. Her beloved great-grandparents, Mother Pauline Trotman and Mother Lizzie McAdoo, both of Rochelle, Georgia. Her beloved aunts and uncles, to include a special aunt, Miss Selena Kellum of Rochelle, Georgia, Mr. Corey McAdoo and his wife, Mrs. Tara Lawson McAdoo of Tampa, Florida, Mr. Jeremiah Childs and his wife, Mrs. Kimberly Childs, Mrs. Cynthia Kellum and Mrs. Wanda Gaines and her husband, Mr. Percy Gaines, all of Rochelle, Georgia, Mr. John Tavius Kellum of Sandersville, Georgia, her beloved aunts and great-uncles, Mrs. Lolita Freeman and her husband, Mr. Frank Freeman, and Mrs. Mary Cheese and her husband, Mr. Ronnie Cheese, all of Pitts, Georgia. Mr. Richard Trotman and his wife, Mrs. Mary Lee Trotman, all of Pitts, Georgia. Mr. Charles Trotman of Rochelle, Georgia. Ms. Geraldine Everson and her husband, Mr. Melvin Everson of Snellville, Georgia. And Mr. Arthur McAdoo of Pineview, Georgia. A host of cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survived little Miss Hope Janiyah Marie Kellum, age 4, 115 Alley Avenue, Rochelle, Georgia. Mr. Manuel Smith of 32 Rosewood Circle, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, July 11th at the Emory University Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Manuel Smith was held Saturday, July 25th, graveside at the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The Reverend Henry Peoples officiated. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Lenora McNeil Smith of Cordele, Georgia. His loving and devoted children, Mrs. Gwendolyn Wells and her husband, Mr. Gregory Wells, Miss Stephanie Smith, Mr. Carlos Smith, Mr. Pierre Smith and his wife, Mrs. Ruby Smith, Mr. Anwan Smith, Mrs. Fidel Smith, and Mr. Elliot Butler, all of Miami, Florida. Mr. Crawford Lee Grooms, his beloved stepchildren, Mrs. Ruby Holder, Melbourne, Florida, Miss Carolyn Faye Clark and her husband, Mr. Willie Clark, of Winter Haven, Florida, Mrs. Gwendolyn Relaford and her husband, Deacon Wallace Relaford, and Mrs. Vivian Fullwood, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Vicky Hayes and her husband, Mr. Alvin Hayes of Jacksonville, Florida. Ms. Beverly Brown and her husband, Mr. Donald Brown of Cordele, Georgia. And Mrs. Bridget Thompson and her husband, Mr. Roy Thompson of Winter Havens, Florida. 19 beloved grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren, his beloved sisters and brothers, Mr. Ozzie Smith and his wife, Mrs. Mardell Smith of Miami, Florida, Mr. Roosevelt Smith and his wife, Mrs. Maida Smith, Mrs. Catherine Reese, Mrs. Ruby Coleman, and Mrs. Alice Hill and her husband, Mr. Sammy Hill, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Sammy Parker and his wife, Mrs. April Parker of Atlanta, Georgia. Mr. Willie James Parker of Lakeland, Florida, and Mrs. Barbara Mallard of Savannah, Georgia. A beloved uncle, Deacon James Smith of Cordele, Georgia. A sister-in-law, Ms. Margaret Chapman. A host of nieces and nephews, Mr. Tyrone Merrick and Mrs. Arlena Smith, both of Miami, Florida, Mr. Calvin Irving of New York, and Miss Pamela Reese of Cordele, Georgia. Many other cousins, other relatives, and many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Manuel Smith of 32 Rosewood Circle, Cordele, Georgia. Again, the family of Miss Erica Nicole Hopper of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Henry Clemens Tenon of Vienna, Georgia. The family of little Miss Hope Janaya Marie Kellum, age 4, of Rochelle, Georgia. The family of Mr. Manuel Smith of Cordele, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you is their prayer. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors serving Cordele and Vienna were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. And now, it is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Huge of 108 West 2nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at her residence in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted mother, Miss Sharon Tripp Wright of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved and caring father, Mr. Lord Hughes Sr. of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving and devoted sisters, Miss Lakeisha Tripp and Miss Christy Prather, both of Warner Robins, Georgia. Mrs. Lysandra Hughes of Moultrie, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Lord Hughes Jr., Mr. Adrian Hughes, Mr. Brandon Hughes, and Mr. Alonzo Hughes, all of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving aunts and uncles, Miss Donald Tripp, Miss Regina Tripp, Mr. Napoleon Armstrong, Miss Glenda Hughes, and Mr. Mark Hughes, Mr. Alvin Hughes, and Mr. Vance Hughes, all of Cordele, Georgia. Miss Marilyn Jones of Orlando, Florida. Miss Priscilla Carter and Miss Christine Rogers, both of Sylvester, Georgia. Her beloved nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Miss Tracy Latoya Hughes of 105 West 2nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Tracy Latoya Hughes will be held Wednesday, July 29th, 10 a.m., graveside at the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church Cemetery, Hatley Community, Cordele, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. Public walk-up visitation will be Tuesday, July 28th, from 1 p.m. until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home viewing window. Mother Bernice High Green, age 99, of 306 Harvey Lane, Americus, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at the Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mrs. Bobby Andrews, Dr. Shirley Reese, Mr. Jimmy Green, and Dr. Gregory Green. Her loving and devoted grandchildren and great-grandchildren, a beloved sister, Mrs. Thelma Green Anderson, her loving daughters-in-law, Mrs. Edith Green, Mrs. Alice Green, and Mrs. Deborah Green, a host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mother Bernice High Green, of age 99, of 306 Harvey Lane, Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Bernice High Green, age 99, will be held Saturday, August 1st, 2020, 11 a.m., graveside at the Staley Memorial Gardens in Americus, Georgia. Her pastor, Bishop Melvin McCluster, pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church, will officiate. Mr. Isaac James Jenkins of 48 Reddick Drive, Americus, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at the Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. Survivors include his beloved and devoted daughters, Ms. Shanika Jackson of Riverdale, Florida, Miss Sonia Jackson of Newark, New Jersey, Miss Yamika Jackson of West Palm Beach, Florida, Miss Krista Flowers of Atlanta, Georgia, Mrs. Cecilia Flowers of Americus, Georgia, his beloved sons, Mr. Kenneth Johnson and his wife, Mrs. Marilyn Johnson of Lumpkin, Georgia, Mr. Lawrence Jackson of Newark, New Jersey, Mr. Mario Robinson, Mr. Tyrone Robinson, Mr. Troy Flowers, and Mr. Derek Flowers, all of Americus, Georgia. His beloved sons-in-law, Mr. Christopher Johnson of Atlanta, Georgia, and Mr. Christopher Wilkerson of Americus, Georgia. A host of grandchildren to include 5 special grandchildren, Kentavious, LaQuisha, Jelaya, Travis, and Alicia. His beloved and devoted brothers, Mr. Leroy Jenkins and his wife, Mrs. Thelma Jenkins of Louisville, Kentucky, Mr. Rodney Jenkins of Americus, Georgia, a beloved uncle, Mr. Joe Jenkins of Americus, Georgia, a host of other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends to include a special cousin, Mr. Jimmy Williams of Newark, New Jersey, and a devoted and special friend, Miss Fanny Flowers of Americus, Georgia. Survived Mr. Isaac James Jenkins of 48 Reddick Drive, Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Isaac James Jenkins will be held Saturday, August 1st, 2020 at the Antioch Baptist Church Cemetery, Plains, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Diana, are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your pre-funeral arrangements needs available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And also whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And now for announcements. The new Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia, Sunday morning worship will be at 9:45 a.m. and Wednesday evening at 6:45 p.m. via conference call. Please dial 253-993-3761. 253-993-3761. The New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia, Sunday morning worship today, this morning at 9:45 a.m. and Wednesday evening at 6:45 p.m. via conference call. Please dial 253-993-3761. The Reverend Johnny Dean, pastor, New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia. The Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church conference call schedule as follows. Sunday morning worship today at 10 a.m. Tuesday, midday prayer conference at 12 noon. Thursday, prayer meeting and Bible study, 6 p.m. The call-in conference number is 229-329-7611. 229-329-7611. The Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church invite you to worship by way of conference call this morning at 10 a.m. 229-329-7611. And you may join Facebook Live at 10:15 a.m. Everyone is invited. Mother Lucille Shazer, Church Mother, Deacon Tommy Ford, Vice Chairman of Deacons, Deacon Kenneth Smith, Program Chairman, and Dr. K.M. Williams, Pastor. The Antioch Baptist Church of Cuthbert, Georgia, will celebrate their pastor first anniversary, the Reverend Christopher M. Williams, Sunday today, July 26th. No program at the church, but will have a drive-by by the church members expressing their love and appreciation from their vehicles. That's again today, this morning, Sunday, July 26th. No program is scheduled, but we'll do a drive-by at the church with members expressing their love and appreciation from their vehicles. Reverend Christopher Williams is the son of Dr. and Mrs. Kathy Williams of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, where he is also the son of the house. Reverend Christopher M. Williams, pastor of the Antioch Baptist Church of Cuthbert, Georgia. And friends, that conclude our announcements for this morning. I do pray that you would govern yourselves accordingly. And now for dedications. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of Mr. Curtis Ezel, who would have celebrated his birthday Wednesday, July 29th. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Bobby Jean Ezel, his children, Mona, Gary, and Courtney, his beloved grandchildren, and the entire Felton and Ezel family, and all of the staff at BJ's Diner. Pause and remember Mr. Curtis Ezel, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of our beloved Mother Carrie Lee Porter, who would have celebrated her birthday July 23rd, dedication requested by her children, grandchildren, and the entire Porter family, her beloved sister, Mother Lucille Shazer, and all of the members of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. Pause and remember the life and service and work of Mother Carrie Lee Porter, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of our dear beloved Mrs. Sarah May Dykes, who departed this life on July 24th, 2013. Dedication requested by the Dykes family and all the members of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church, her pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, Deacon Tommy Ford, and Mother Lucille Shazer, and all of the members. Pause and remember the service and work and life of Mother Sarah May Dykes, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mother Eva May Lewis, who departed this life July 24th, 2019. Dedication requested by Mr. Fred Lewis and the entire Lewis family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Burnell Morgan, who would have celebrated her birthday July 26th. Dedication requested by her beloved children, grandchildren, and the entire Felton and Morgan family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Laura Weaver, who would have celebrated her birthday July 27th, dedication requested by the Walker and Weaver family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mrs. Mary Applin, who would have celebrated her birthday July 27th, dedication requested by Mr. Fred Lewis and the entire Applin family. Gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Georgia May Fuller, who departed this life July 28, 2007. Dedication requested by her beloved sister, Mrs. Annette Stembridge, and the entire family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mr. Marvin Clark, who departed this life July 29, 1998. Dedication requested by the Clark, Oliver, and Gaines family. Gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Deacon Leonard Gary, past chairman of the Board of Deacons of the Mount Zion First African Baptist Church, who departed this life July 30th, 1983. Dedication requested by the Gary family and all of the members of the Mount Zion First African Baptist Church. Gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Minnie Burks Farrington, who departed this life July 30th, 1999. Dedication requested by the Farrington family. Gone but not forgotten. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Happy birthday to Mrs. Rosa Lee Jones, who will celebrate her birthday on Monday, July 27th. Dedication requested by the Felton and Jones family. Happy birthday to Mrs. Rosa Lee Jones and many, many more. Special birthday wishes goes out to Judge Gail Sims, who celebrated her birthday on this past Friday, July 24th, and was honored with a drive-by parade at her home by the Sheriff Department, Police Department, Fire Department, and her many co-workers and friends. Happy birthday to our very own Judge Gail Sims on Friday, July 24th, and many more. And special wishes come from all of her family. The Hughes family also says happy birthday to their very beloved sister, Judge Gail Sims, on Friday, July 24th. Happy birthday to our own, my nephew, Mr. Frederick Johnson of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, better known as Fred, who celebrated his birthday Friday, July 24th. Dedication comes from his children, grandchildren, his beloved mother, Miss Maddie Johnson, his sister, the entire family, and the management and staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Homes. Happy birthday to Frederick Johnson, Fred. Happy birthday, and many more. Happy birthday to Miss Henry May Lewis, who celebrated her birthday Friday, July 24th. Dedication requested by the Lewis family. Happy birthday to Mr. Nick Lewis, who will celebrate his birthday Monday, July 27th. Dedication requested by Mr. Fred Lewis and the entire family. Congratulations to Miss Jackie Ross of Americus, Georgia. On Friday, July 31st, Miss Ross will be retiring after 48 years of dedicated service to the community and the city of Americus as customer service administrator. There will be a drive-by retirement parade scheduled for Saturday, August 1st at 12 noon to wish her well on her next phase, of her life. Lineup parade will be at 11:45 a.m. at Staley Middle School on North Lee Street. Congratulations on your retirement, Mrs. Jackie Ross. 48 years of dedicated service to the community and the city of Americus as customer service administrator. God bless you, and God bless you during your retirement. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: Connor Eric D. Bryant, candidate for the Sumter County Sheriff; Mr. Kenneth Hamilton, candidate for Sumter County Commissioner, District 5; Mr. Warner Buffett Edward, candidate for the Sumter County Tax Commissioner; Dr. Elizabeth Maddox, incumbent, Chris County Board of Education seat, and also to her husband, Deacon James Maddox, and the Reverend Isaac H. Owens, candidate for the Chris County Chief Magistrate Judge, and his wife, Mrs. Catherine Owens, and family. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: Evangelist Dorothy Sims Williams and her husband of Americas, Georgia, and Albany, Georgia; prayer warrior Mother Nell Ford and family; Deacon James Smith and family; Mr. Roscoe Applin and family; Mr. and Mrs. Willie Frank Collier and family; Mr. Gus Williams and family; Miss Marion Felton and family; Deacon Lanny Hoggebrook and family; Mrs. Sharon Chambliss and family; Mrs. Frances Chambliss and family; Miss Verdell Butts and family; Mr. Theodore Lemons and family; Mr. James Grant and family; Miss Curtina Grant and family; Miss Debbie Reed and family; Miss Stephanie Grant and family; Mother Grace Patrick and family; Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Passmore and family; Mrs. Gladys Williams and family; Mr. and Mrs. Keith Bryan and family; Miss Denise Walker and family; Mr. Eddie Heston family of Pineview, Georgia; Mr. and Mrs. Charles Kerr and family; Mr. and Mrs. Joshua Woodson and family; Mr. Leonard Morgan and family; Miss Bernice Smith and family; Deacon and Mrs. Sammy McGill and family; Mr. Willie Shallow and family; Deacon and Mrs. Charles Glenn and family; the Honorable Mayor Juanita Kitchen of the city of Warwick, Georgia; Deacon Jimmy Johnson and family; Deacon and Mrs. Charlie Westbrook and family; the family of Mother Cornelius Jackson; Mr. and Mrs. Dwight Tenon and family; Miss Sue James and family; Miss Cora Robinson and family; Mrs. Joanne Atkins and family; Mrs. Faustine Carruthers and family; Miss Linda Wilson and family; the Reverend and Mrs. Jeff Wilson, and all of the members of the Odom Grove Baptist Church; Miss Donna Cobb and family; Pastor Jimmy Felton; Mr. and Mrs. James Palmer and family; Mother Lucille Shazer, age 107, church mother of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church; Deacon and Mrs. Willis Shivers and family; Miss Carrie Brooks and family; the Reverend and Mrs. Woody Barnum and family; Miss Marion Golfin and family; Mr. and Mrs. Charlie Clark and family; Deacon Michael Morgan and wife; Deacon Henry King and family; Mr. and Mrs. Alonzo Flood and family; Deacon and Mrs. Otis Blanks and family; Mr. Carl Bryant and family; Mr. and Mrs. James Russell Brunell and family. And our first selection goes out to my neighbor, Mrs. Theron Jones and family, and the entire Jones and Talbot family; Mrs. Dorothy Talbot and family; Mr. Johnny and Mrs. Juanita Talbot and family. Our first selection for this morning.
Just
It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Miss Tracy Latoya Hughes, 105 West 2nd Avenue, Cordele, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at her residence in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Tracy Latoya Hughes will be held Wednesday, July 29th at 10 a.m. graveside at the Pleasant Hill Baptist Church Cemetery, Hatley Community, Cordele, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. Mother Bernice High Green, age 99, of 306 Harvey Lane, Americus, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at the Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Bernice High Green, age 99, will be held Saturday, August 1st, 2020 at 11 a.m. graveside at the Staley Memorial Garden in Americus, Georgia. Her pastor, Bishop Melvin McCluster, pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church, will officiate. Mr. Isaac James Jenkins of 48 Reddick Drive, Americus, Georgia, died Thursday, July 23rd at the Grady Memorial Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Isaac James Jenkins will be held Saturday, August 1st, 2020 at the Antioch Baptist Church Cemetery, Plains, Georgia, with the minister selected officiating. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors serving Cordele and Diana are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Our next and final selection for this morning is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved one was laid to rest during the past week. The family of Miss Erica Nicole Hopper of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Henry Clemens Tenon of Diana, Georgia. The family of little Miss Hope Janaya Marie Kellum, age 4, of Rochelle, Georgia. The family of Mr. Manuel Smith of Cordele, Georgia. This election is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of Miss Tracy Latoya Hughes of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mother Bernice High Green, age 99, of Americus, Georgia. The family of Mr. Isaac James Jenkins of Americus, Georgia. Our program this morning is dedicated to all of the sick and shut-in, to all patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing homes, and rehabilitation centers, to our beloved ministers and their devoted family members, to all retired educators, to the men and women serving in our armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to all healthcare workers throughout the land, and to everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. Our program goes out in memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams, goes out to my wife, Mrs. Calandra Wickerson Parker, goes out to my son, John Wickerson Parker. The selection goes out to my mother-in-law, Mrs. Billy Ann Hall, and family, to my brother, retired Chief Master Sergeant Norman F. Dexter, to his wife, Dr. Gwendolyn Maxine Dexter, and family, and to their grandson, Noble, this morning. Good morning, Noble. This selection goes out to my sister, Miss Maddie Mae Johnson, better known as Sister Girl, and Mrs. Patsy Jackson, and her husband, Mr. Jim Jackson of Cordele, Georgia. This selection goes out to my nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith Jr., who's with us this morning at the studio. I'd like to thank him for his services this morning. Goes out to our pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, pastor of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, and to his wife, Sister Kathy Williams, and again invite you to worship via conference call this morning with the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. The selection goes out to Deacon Tommy Ford, board chairman, goes out to the Reverend Johnny Dean, pastor of the New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia, and again invite you to worship with them via conference call. The selection this morning goes out to our dear beloved Miss Easter May Sanders and family, to Mr. and Mrs. George Felton and family. Goes out to Miss Martha Cutts and family, Minister Emma Love Jackson and family, Mrs. Janice Jones and family, Mr. Willie Frank Hayes and family, Miss Juanita Jefferson and family, Miss Betty Taylor and family, Miss Betty Oliver and family, Miss Diane McClendon and family, Miss Maggie Jackson and family, Miss Mary Hill and family, Miss Loretta Coley and family, Mrs. Geraldine Harvey and family, Mrs. Willie Bell Lawson and family, Deacon and Mrs. Samuel Mills and family of Pineview, Georgia, and all of the members of the Spring Hill Baptist Church of Tibbettville, Georgia, Reverend Choice Cobb Sr., pastor. Family goes, a selection goes out to the family of Deacon Rufus Hoggebrook, Mrs. Lulabelle Hill and family, Deacon and Mrs. Johnny C. Hillsman and family, Miss Ruby Kitchen and family, beloved mother, Mother Mary E. Jackson and the entire Jackson family, Deacon and Mrs. Bobby James and family, Miss Priscilla Thomas and family, Miss Helen Ray and family, Mr. and Mrs. Jesse Walker and family, Mr. Edward Johnson and family, Mrs. Trudy Mae Johnson and family, Deacon Curtis Lucas Jr. and family, Miss Carrie Bell Woodson and family. This election goes out to Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon, oldest staff member of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Goes out to past commissioner, Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Rivers and family, Miss Clara Graham and family, Miss Angeline Jones and family, Mr. and Mrs. Woodrow Biggins and family, Deacon James Beal and family, Miss Rubenelle Anderson and family, Mr. Charlie Ray and family, Mr. Kenny Staley and family, the Reverend and Mrs. Eddie Gant and family, Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Williams and family, Mrs. Annie Curry and family, Mr. Nathaniel Curry and family, Deacon and Mrs. Charles Harris Sr. and family, Mr. Willie Holmes and family, Miss Pearlie Griggs and family, Mr. Willie Jackson and family, Mr. Scotty Anderson and family, Mrs. Jackie Ridley and family, Mr. Robert Harvey and family, Apostle Mrs. Morris James Jones and family, Mr. and Mrs. Tim Lockett and family, Mr. and Mrs. Avery Hillman and family, and again to Mrs. Jackie Ross and family of Americus, Georgia, on her retirement of 48 years. This election goes out to Mother Jessie Ezel and family, and again to each and everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. God bless you.
We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. In your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
Some of these days, well, I'm going to walk up and take a much.
I'm Isaac Owens. I'm a candidate for Chief Magistrate, Crisp County. Over the past couple of months, we've experienced many things, but we are Crisp County. We are strong. We will survive. As we prepare to enter into the second phase of this year, I ask for your vote and your support in my candidacy to be the next Chief Magistrate of Crisp County. We can do this. We will do this. And with your support, I will be the next Magistrate Judge of Crisp County. Thank you for your support.